Quarantine has been hell for all of us this year. Social interactions has been kinda limited, so it is only natural to seek a way to keep talking to people, or at least try to not feel so alone. I play video games. Most of them are fighting games or single players. They are not the best way to increase my social skills. This is why games like MMORPGs enter and excel. You are playing the game, but the world is filled with people. Sometimes you don't need to talk to anyone, you just want the feeling of being part of a crowd. I used to play two games a lot. The first one was Ragnarok Online. Although the game was a grind, the music and graphics made the game so comfy for me. I met a lot of people during my Assassin's days there, and I know players married in real life after meeting on Ragnarok Online. The combat was simple and you organically met people for dungeons. Obviously, if you were a girl, or used one in game, people threw themselves at you. The other one was a little obscure, Fairyland. I wanted to play a little before jumping into the one I'm talking in this video, but servers are muertos. This game was very interesting in the way it handled combat. In the most classic RPG fashion, Fairyland was turn-based. If you were in a party, only the leader could move it. It felt so old school, even for the time. The art style was very cute and reminded me of Super Mario RPG. The other day I was talking to my mates about all SNES and PlayStation 1 RPGs, and we noticed Final Fantasy XIV was 30% off. Next thing I knew, I was creating a cat dude in order to be a white mage. Yeah. Final Fantasy XIV used to suck. It was known for everybody, even for people like me who didn't play these kinds of games. The second installment in online Final Fantasy wasn't doing good, so Square Enix used a wildcard. Naoki Yoshida or Yoshi P. He began working on Square Enix in 2004 and was part of the Dragon Quest team. But the Square Enix needed a hand with the absolute mess that was 14. So Yoshi P basically destroyed the world with a meteor. He didn't fuck around.
皆さんとここにいるコアスタッフとここに今日来れてない本当何百人ものスタッフのおかげで今日ここがあります。正直
A Realm Reborn is what we have right now, with several expansions available. Having not played a single MMORPG in years, I jumped with my friends into the world of Eorzea. The game starts really slow. You don't really start playing the game till level 50, which was the original level cap. After you unlock flying, FF becomes a lot better. The world is very interesting though, but two of the main cities in the first expansions are so big that you'll get lost a lot. Fortunately, you can activate some teleports that alleviate the freaking walking. The story is a little dull. The typical, this guy comes to save the world, but some side stories are very interesting. But at the end of the day, you'll be doing the same things over and over again in order to gain new equipment. And do it again, albeit a little harder. The game seems to be a cosmetic fest. In fact, a lot in this game circle around cosmetics. Look at that store. Characters have the weirdest voices and the way they speak is a little curious. I'm not that into any of them, but at least they provide some motivation for our main character.
That Heidelin would speak directly to this man.
But ask me if I remember their names. I just call them girl with a thing covering her eyes, girl with interesting hairdo, big dude and generic fuckboy. There are a lot of classes based on all FF jobs. I have never played anything that's not DPS, so I tried going for something more helpful to people. I even surprised myself when I found out white mage was my thing here. There's a lot of satisfaction when people give you commendations at the end of dungeons or trials, and I work for that stuff. I'm worried for my party well-being, and I look damn cute in white robes. But respect your healer though, give the commendations, they have mouths to feed. The combat is very similar to WoW and other contemporaries, thus there's not much to say here. You have lots of windows that you'll get to know as close as your wife. Before even playing, you have to make a decision, pad or keyboards and mouse. Honestly, the game works okay with any of them, but I prefer keyboard and mouse because it is so much easier in general. Quests are usually resolved by talking to people or standing in a place to grab an item or fight something. Bosses, raids and dungeons vary in the quantity of people required to do them. Most of the time, you'll be walking with 3 other people. During everything that's not a raid, you're not really required to talk, so you might ignore the chat. Every once in a while, someone says something useful like a boss mechanic. When you start the game, there's several things you have to get acquainted for. First, the amount of things you can do in this game is crazy. Customization is a little lacking in the armor weapon department, since the game usually throws the best items at you when it is needed. In that sense, this is a very easy MMORPG to start playing. The only thing you need to get used to doing combat is the rotation of abilities to get the most out of your character. Since I'm a healer, my work is getting my party safe. I say the bulk of the work lays on the tank and healer combo. DPSs just stay there playing their own game. I didn't go as far as being a carpenter or something. Nevertheless, the option is there. Imagine being an accountant in one of these games. That'd be a weird class. Since Akihiro Yoshida is part of the game, you'll see some things that might remind you of Final Fantasy Tactics or Background Story, which is a-okay for me. The graphics and art style are very gorgeous, and although the game is a little dated by now, it still manages to impress me with beautiful business. The game runs a little weird on PS4, but good enough to not be a big issue. The game used to run on PS3. I buy that version just for the novelty alone, but PS3 support shut down a few years ago. By the way, music is so good in this game. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy, you're gonna get an eargasm with the amount of arrangements of classic FF music, but the original score is also very good. The main theme for dungeon bosses is nothing less than awesome. Have this game worked for me? Yeah, I did. It might not be fun when playing alone, but with a group of friends, it easily makes you forget about time and the usual anxieties of life. That's maybe the reason why these kinds of games are so popular. This MMO is very beginner friendly. It's easy to play and understand. It's perfect for people that want to kill a few hours, days, or months. I did miss the interaction with other players. Everything is easier, yeah, but that comes with a problem. You rarely need to talk with other players. The game feels like a single player with multiplayer components. Considering I joined this game with my friends but also wanted to talk to random people, I'd say this didn't work out as expected. I treasure my memories of asking people in Ragnarok about enemies or making a party for a dungeon. I get why this game is the way it is, and I enjoyed it. In a way, I don't see an online FF being different from what this is. I see my time in yours as the vacations that you're taking this year. I laughed and had fun, but I don't think I'll be back soon. So join me next time. I should have finished Symphony of the Night by then.